go.
Ta-da!
Shane.
Hello.
It is time.
It is time for Book Bros.
We're back. We got Mistborn stuff to talk about.
That's right, we do. And that
Um, Go ahead.
really, really good chapters this week.
I'm glad you enjoyed them. I finished them and I was like, oh, I think Shane's gonna like this.
Well, we'll address the elephant in the room real quick. My wife sent you a picture of me locked in on my chair, like reading. She's trying to get my attention, making all kinds of like noises, trying to whisper shit to me. I couldn't hear nothing because I was in that last chapter, which we'll talk about later. And like, my brain was like, "Nope, outside distractions don't exist right now. I'm in book mode."
Yeah, you looked cozy as hell. This is the coziest
Oh,
looking Viking I've ever seen.
in my Sherpa hoodie, just sitting on a leather chair. It was comfy.
Are they Bigfoot pants?
Um,
Or Yeti?
very, very oversized. They're very Yeti pants. So I actually have a funny story about them. My mother-in-law, nicest human being on the planet, buys pajamas for everybody every Christmas. And that year she had bought me these like pajama pants and she was like, "Oh my god, they don't exactly have your size, but I know that like things shrink, so I just got you these like big ass pants." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, I'll shrink them." Well, they didn't shrink. So now I just have Yeti pants. But like I'm oddly okay with it cuz they're warm.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
Oh man. Alright. So I'm just gonna get into it. I'm gonna start with the
Yeah.
epigraph. What would it be like if every nation, from the Isles in the south to the Terrace Hills in the north, were united under a single government? What wonders could be achieved? What progress could be made if mankind were to permanently set aside its squabbling and join together? It is too much work, I suppose, to even hope for. A single unified empire of man? It could never happen.
So the joke that I told you a second ago, this is just Lord Ruler's journal TM.
Yeah. Unified by force?
Question mark? It's very Illuminati of you, Mr. Ruler. Yeah, like nothing has been confirmed. All right, so like this is just my ongoing personal theory. But the more and more that I listen to this, the more I'm like, yeah, this is straight up him just like talking some nonsense. He needs
Yeah.
to vent. He needs to get some things out, or like maybe this is him planning. But like I am 100% convinced that this is him talking.
It almost kind of reminds me of like a person who doesn't know who they are yet, and they're like
Yeah. Oh, that's
formulating.
excellent. Oh, that's really good. You're so right. Like here you are thrust into this world. You're learning some mechanics. You're smart. You're very, very intelligent, and that's very evident in the words and like in the things that you describe. You're making patterns. You're making connections that nobody else sees, and having these moments of like, why can't anybody else figure this out? Why can't anybody else see this? And like, I think that's what is doing it.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Like, I'm alone in this, like type thought.
Yeah. And, like I said, end of the day, I could totally be wrong. This is just my working theory.
I respect it. I like your theorizing. You've progressed. I feel like you were thinking of it in this like very like um kind of like artsy way, like before. Like you're like this mirrors Kelsier's journey and da 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 da. And I'm like, I think it's a little bit more straightforward than that, but I'm gonna let him do it, you know. But you're
Yeah.
starting to think.
Yeah, no, there was a very interesting duality where, like, to me, I still think it mirrors Kelsier's journey, but, like, opposite. Where, like, they were still both doing the same thing in the beginning, but where the paths diverged
Yeah.
is what defines them as people. And like the more that I listened to it, the more I was like, oh, this is just him.
I got you. All right. So this first chapter
Yes.
really focuses on Vin and her time with the nobles at a ball. How did you feel about that, just generally, like overall?
Well, one of the first notes that I wrote was like, her talking about how nervous she was to be in this ball and to do these things. And one of the things that stood out to me was like she had like done this quote. I don't remember the full quote, but it was basically like she's staying because she wants to belong. And I was
Right.
like, that's really nice. I really like respect that.
Yeah, I like that too. Like she finally feels like she has a purpose more than just like the lackey or the tool to get beat up.
Yeah. Um, and I
Um,
just there's a lot of growth. There was a lot of notes that I took in the beginning of like she's staying because she wants to belong, and the banter with her, and like this growing family of like she at one point in time had said how very adult of you, like they're just kind of going back and forth. Um, and in the ball itself, one of the quotes that I wrote down for her was when she was talking to Sazed, and he was like, "Okay, people might ask you to dance. You're brand new. It's perfectly acceptable for you to just say, "Hey, no, thank you. Like I'm a little bit overwhelmed. This is my first one," because that's what everybody does. And she
mhm.
just goes, "You didn't teach me to dance." Like, like she's all pissed off.
He's like, dance.
Dance?
Ah.
What you mean dance? You put me in this fuck ass dress and like I can't even wear my comfy clothes and now you want me to dance? Like that was the mentality that I was getting at. And like I just thought it was hilarious.
I like that a lot. Yeah, no, I Vin in Sazed's relationship is one that I enjoy thoroughly, and it's moments like that that really like make it shine because it's almost like a um, kind of like a brother sister relationship. Like
Yeah.
she finally has that brother that's not a complete douche canoe.
Right.
Yeah. Um, found what I found interesting about this chapter is like seeing Vin like completely try to change as far as like the worlds that she is used to navigating. Like she's used to the streets. She's been trained to do the streets her whole life.
Yeah.
Um, but now she has to try to navigate a whole other different type of like threatening area, and it's all very new to her, which I find really fascinating.
Yeah, no, it is definitely a whole new ball game. And I do agree with you. Like Sazed has taken on this role of like I'm going to be your guardian and your helper, but I'm not going to treat you like a kid. Like if
Yeah,
anything, I'm going to treat you as an adult, but I'm still going to guide you. I'm still going to like work with you on things, which I find that really respectful.
yeah,
And that's he's going about it in such a nice way because like that's what you do with someone who has experienced all the things that she's experienced. You can't like sit there and be like, "Oh, you're a teenager, you're a child, I need to treat you like a child." No, because in her mind she's not. And so he's going about it in the best possible approach.
oh, agreed. Like she's definitely not a child. Like she has done so much. I mean, like I guess like physically she's an adolescent, but like mentally she's not, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
She's watched
Um
people die, you know.
and I think like it shows a good mark on her, not just her intelligence, but like how skillful she is as a person to be like, okay, this is what you taught me to do. I'm gonna pick this up incredibly quickly, not only because like I have to, because I need to, that's the only way I can survive this, but also she just has this like innate skill to absorb knowledge.
Yeah, absorbing the knowledge is really good. I mean, like you see it not only with um, the noble acting, but also Mistborn, like
Yeah.
picking up Allomancy. Um, I think like um, Kelsier made a comment in the chapter before where he was like, "Wait a second, she's soothing me," like
Yeah.
she's just very very talented. Um, it's kind of amazing.
No, it is. And speaking of her talents, there was a scene, and I paid attention to the wording here, where Vin saw her father at the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And I read the wording, and it was like, my brother pointed out my father to me. And I'm like, you didn't say our father. You said my father.
Ooh, that's a good catch. I don't know about like
And
who's
so, like,
actually.
that was like lending more into like my thought of like, okay, I really do think they're half siblings.
It explains like why like he wouldn't have any abilities.
Yeah. And why he did prep her, but that also I could see that being like a little bit of a jealousy because like especially if he was raised on the street with nothing and then here she comes being raised on the street but also has abilities and like he might have known she had abilities but he wasn't the one to teach her how to use them because he didn't know anything, like he doesn't know about them.
He couldn't. He
He
couldn't
couldn't
teach
teach
her.
her. Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm. That's fascinating. I that's not something I really picked up on my first read through. Nice. I like that. I
Good.
think you're actually onto something there.
um and we also got to meet Elend. Is that how you pronounce his
Elend.
name? Elend.
Elend. Elend Venture. Yeah. Yeah, that's the kind of like the later half of the chapter. You got to she got to speak with Ellen. Um, what did you think of him?
So I wrote two things, and then I'll give you my like other thoughts. So I wrote either Elend is trying to butter her up, or there's another angle at play here. I think Vin has may have done something a little fucky. Is what I wrote. Um, Here's this noble who doesn't act like a noble, wants to be left alone. Um, Him and Vin have this like quick little like I would put it as very friendly banter. It's
Mm-hmm.
almost the kind of banter you would get if you put like two introverts in a room and both of them are trying to gauge each other about like, hey, you don't expect me to pretend to be extroverted, right? No, okay, I don't expect you to do that either. All right, cool, peace.
I like that.
Like that was how I took their conversation. Is like they were just like kind of sizing each other up a little bit.
Like we both don't want to be at this party. Type.
Yeah, like I don't want to be here. You don't want to be here. Are you gonna push me out of my hidey hole because I want to read my book? Like, but also somebody comes to a party to read a book. It's the same thing as like seeing somebody quiet in a dangerous situation. Like you got to keep an eye on that. You got to keep an eye on them because like something. I just get this feeling that like, and we'll see it in a later chapter. Something I caught that it just made me think of it. But yeah, I don't trust him at all. I think that like what he's doing is very much like a charade.
Okay.
Um,
And why should you trust them, right? In this society, I mean, noblemen have been known to be complete oppressive pricks, right?
yeah, No, absolutely. So that's kind of where I'm at. And as we get into the next chapter, like everyone else's reaction of like, you talk to who? What did you do?
Right. Everybody was really upset about it. Right.
Yeah.
Um,
What about you? I mean, like I know that you've already read this, but like, if you can remember, what was your first impression?
of Ellen,
Yeah.
um, I was very skeptical. First time I met Ellen, very much the same place as you were. Um, I kind of liked their dialogue. Um,
Same.
I found that um, he felt real at first to me, but I was like, I don't know. Like he just seemed very nonchalant, which was pretty cool. And then like Vin felt different talking to him, and Vin that's something Vin expresses,
Mm-hmm.
like in the following chapter, just how she didn't feel like she was anybody. Um, I also kind of feel like there was I don't know if it was in this chapter or chapter 13, um, but Vin at one point goes like, I'm not Lady Valette and I'm not Vin. And I think it's the same.
Yeah.
She she's like Vin's also a mask, which is like she's never really been able to truly be herself. And
Mm-hmm.
it seems that like people in the crew are allowing her to be herself now, which I like.
Yeah, no, you make a great point because as I was reading it, I was thinking to myself like, oh, he's not soothing her, is he? And then she like made the comment of like that she had like
Her
it,
copper on.
that she had copper on, and I was like, no, okay, he's not, but that's really interesting that like his intrinsic aura, for lack of a better term, is just hey, be yourself, because that is not something I expected from any noble with good intentions.
Right, exactly. It's not expected at all. Like I fully expect noblemen to be swarmy bastards because that's what Kelsier taught me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what else did I write? I have a couple notes here we haven't talked about yet.
Sure.
I thought it was interesting that Vin has never seen the Lord Ruler, right? Someone who claims to
Yeah.
be God, right? Why aren't they? You would feel like they'd want praise, open praise. There'd be devoted times to praising this person, right? Why have the Ska not all have seen the Lord Ruler? Wouldn't you think that would be a good way to like um, impose like your rule?
That's a great point. Like, here you are as this, like, quasi godly figure. Why don't you interact with people more and, like, establish this?
Right. It's kind of weird.
Huh. That's a very good point.
Yeah.
I'm have to think about that.
Yeah, it's something that I was pondering as I was reading this. Um, what did you think about the there's like stained glass that depicted like the deepness and the fighting and the Lord Ruler.
Oh, the pseudo story thing with him.
Yeah.
Um, I thought it was interesting because, like, I read over it and I was like, okay, that's very very propaganda-y to essentially put yourself up there and be like, hey, this is my pedestal, like this is who I am, kind of thing. And it made me think that, like, kind of similar to how you and I have talked about this in the past of, okay, here's all these stories of the things that he does.
Mhm.
Here's like, these not necessarily effigies, but like the windows into his life and how he does things. And yet it's there's still so much missing.
Right. He's he's done all this, but he doesn't openly come out and get worshipped. Like it's sketchy, right? Like
Something's off. Yeah. What what's off to me, like now that I think about it a little bit more, you've said that, is did he let this get too far? Like, did people start calling him like this godly figure? And did he just accept it to keep rule? Does he actually like
like did he beat the deepness or whatever the deepness is on accident? Is the deepness even real?
yeah, like did he actually want this or did he like if I'm going along with my theory that the epigraphs are his journal,
Journal.
his way of like expressing what's going on. Did he eventually reach a point where he got his goals together and he realized, oh, people won't actually unite themselves, they won't actually do anything unless they think there's a consequence. They won't do this on purpose. They won't actually work together for the betterment of society unless they think someone or something is watching them. Maybe I have to become this godlike character to do this. Like,
So you suspect that the whole thing's a farce then?
I wouldn't go as far as that. I just think that like for if he was the egotistical, like being in this egotistical, like crazy, like I am this, you must obey me. Like there's no there's no doubt that like his motivations are really really shitty
Right.
and that he is a terrible person.
Absolutely.
But I think like to an extent he might have let something get out of hand, and
Okay.
you can't put the genie back in the bottle at this point. And I think it's just that kind of what happened.
Okay. I see what you're saying. Fascinating.
And like the fact that he chooses to go along with it is like, oh yeah, no, you're a piece of shit.
Yeah, pretty much. Like you're a lousy, lousy, cruddy uh, excuse for a human being.
Yeah.
What else did I write here?
Oh, never mind. Chef and
No.
spawner.
So one thing that I thought was kind of funny, and I wrote here, I was like, they 2 or 3 balls a week. I was like, my people meter would have been shot long ago.
Right?
Like, no, thank you.
Yeah, like all of the nobles have to do all of these like ceremonial things. Initially, when it was that guy who was like, "Yeah, I'm just reading this book," I was when he first described it, I was like, "All right, if you had to do that many, I'd be a little pissed off too."
Yeah, definitely
There was
been
like
a
some
tidbit
other things that
irritated.
came up that I was like, I don't actually think that's your whole motivation, but like, I understand.
Yeah, and it's like, no. Like you're a little sketch, but like, yeah, my people meter would be drained too if I'd probably be up here reading books. It's interesting to me though that it's his home. Like he's there. Why not just be up in your room? Like I guess you have to show face, but
It's a good question. Hmm.
you don't know.
Yeah, the rules of the nobility have very, very interesting things because they
Right.
all have to do this sort of like, Kelsier's described it before too, of like, okay, you can't hire, Allomancers to, Mistborn to like do these things, but yet the houses don't trust each other. It's like everybody got a little bit of power, and everyone's trying to show that they're really happy with that power, while simultaneously trying to get more power. Like, it's very typical medieval kingdom.
Yeah, it also kind of feels like the Lord Ruler like makes them kind of feel like they have to vie for this power, like, especially with the atium. Like
Hmm.
they have this outrageous, powerful metal, um, but they can't use it.
Yeah, no, that's, and I'm glad we're getting in the ATM because like that was fun to learn about in the next chapter.
Yeah. Well, we can use that as a segue to the next chapter.
Sure.
Let me get my handy dandy epigraph. All right. So we're on chapter 13 now. The epigraph reads, "I know that I shouldn't let a simple packman perturb me. However, he is from Terrace, where the prophecies originated. If anyone could spot a fraud, would it not be he? Nevertheless, I continue my trek, going where the scribbled allegories proclaim I will meet my destiny, walking, feeling Rashik eyes on my back, jealous, mocking, hating." So now we have this Rashik character again, a terrorist man who just seems to be part of these like zealous terrorists. But Rashik is telling this person that is writing it, who we assume is the Lord Ruler, that their prophecies are false.
Yeah. And it was something that was mentioned several chapters ago at this point. I think it was Kelsier that said it, that the Lord Ruler doesn't like those people. Like he actively like kind of avoids them.
The terrorists, yeah, no, they essentially, like, I don't know how much we've learned about what he does to them, but the keepers specifically, he does not like. Like, he, remember, because they are the ones who hold on to the religious information.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, that was, as I read this, that was one of the notes that I took where I was like, it's interesting because it does imply that people of Terrace can see deeper. And like somebody who like is a keeper, keeping all of these stories, and also like that's the thing with stories, and that's the thing with religion is the more that you learn about it, the more you get the ability to take a step back and go, oh, this is interesting, and like kind of, as he's explained, he like kind of picks what he wants,
Right.
and I love that. But also, like, if you are trying to tell people, I am the only thing you need to worship, you're going to be afraid of the people who are educated, and you're going to be afraid of the people who have the ability to go, but are you?
Right. You don't want people with knowledge because those people will make um, others question and guess.
Exactly.
Let's see, what notes have I written here?
I know one of mine was, could Lord Ellen have been using Allomancy? And then, like, I wrote, okay, Vin had the same theory, and that she was also had copper. And then I wrote, like, something about him doesn't add up. And I really did like how Zazib was like, oh, you did what? And then, and she was like, yeah, I just, I was kind of bored. Like, he kind of like tried to play it off as like, oh, okay, this is fine. Don't worry about it. You're okay. Like, he tried to do this like a little bit nice,
Yeah.
like kind of gentle, but she could tell like by his tone of voice and by his body language of like, oh, I fucked up.
Oh shit. Yeah, exactly. Because like says it's usually like pretty chill.
Yeah, and she done broke his chill.
Yeah, she did. Yeah. I wrote here, which I find interesting. That despite how we might feel about Ellen, Vin wants to meet Ellen again,
Mm-hmm.
which is interesting because his whole frickin' book so far, she has not trusted anybody. She still doesn't fully trust Kelsier.
Yeah.
So what's the deal there? It's a weird space that she's in.
It is very weird, and like, it it reminded me of something that like happened in the last chapter that kind of like made me think about it, and we'll get to that. We'll get to the last chapter when we do. But like, I just I have a couple of gears turning in my head. We'll leave it at that for
Okay, that's fair.
now. So one of the things I wrote was the imposter met him 4 years ago. That's odd. And I'm trying to remember what I was referencing here, but let me see if I can pull up that quote.
Okay, I'll let
Let's
you.
see. This was, yes, chapter 13. God, come on, book, cooperate with me, please. 13. No, that's 12. While I'm looking for this, if you have another point you want
Yeah.
to bounce on, please feel free.
Sorry, I was.
No, you're good. Watch, I say that, and I'm going to find it.
So I was kind of talking about how Sazed.
Ah!
Ah, there it is.
Yep. Universe decided. Do you want to finish?
No, go ahead. You
Okay.
got this.
So, he is indeed, Renault said. I met the lad perhaps 4 years ago when his father visited the West. He struck me as a bit undignified for one of his station. And then Vin goes, 4 years ago? There's no way he's been imitating Lord Renault for that long. Kelsier only escaped the pits 2 years ago. She
Yeah.
eyed the imposter, but as always was unable to detect a flaw in his bearing. That's what I was referencing, where I was like, oh, that was a little weird.
Yeah, that's a little strange, huh? Lord Vernu. Like, what is his deal? A little strange there, right?
Yeah, like how did he meet him? And like, is that one of the reasons why he was like, oh, I can't be around him. He's gonna recognize me.
Maybe.
But yeah, I caught that and was like, what?
You're like, huh?
Huh?
It's strange. Yeah, that's really interesting. I'm glad you picked that up on that one, cause that's important.
Hmm. This is good to know. Hides in fear.
Eep, eep. Oh, goodness. So I was saying, I
Hmm.
thought it was interesting that we talk about Sazed, right, and how Sazed's relationship with Vin is like one of a brother. I think it's interesting because I think Kelsier is like a father figure to her.
Yeah, I can definitely get that. It definitely like either father or like the uncle that's like, oh, you wanna do this too? You really don't. I'm not gonna stop you. All right, just don't complain about it, but you can do it.
Yeah. You want to fuck around and find out? Sure thing. Yeah, that's kind of how I have always kind of vibed Kelsier and Vin, like a father-daughter.
Hmm.
Um, the uncle one is one that I could see as well. But yeah, that's me. I didn't like. some people see it as a romantic relationship or potentially romantic. I was like, she's way too young, you know.
Oh God, no. Yeah, no. Not to mention he is still dealing with his wife.
Yes.
Like he is still like he gives me the impression of one of those types of like characters where it's like, oh, my wife is gone. I'm burning the world to the ground. Stop me. I dare you.
Yeah. No, yeah, revenge. I'm taking everyone the hell out with me.
Yeah.
Let's see. Atium. Here we
ATM.
are. The 10th and most powerful, and it comes from one place, the pits of Hethson. So it lets you see just a bit further into the future and allows you to react much faster. How did you feel about that? Were you expecting that at all, or?
No, and I actually wrote a funny note for that. Let's see. I wrote, yes, Vince, swallow the vial of mercury. But that is fascinating. That it's like, and that also supported the way that it's described has made me consistently think of mercury because mercury in alchemical text was often referred to as quicksilver, and so here's this metal that lets you slightly see into the future, and I'm like, and they use it for fighting so that they can dodge each other, and I'm like, no, this is totally mercury.
Yeah,
But the ability itself is fascinating, like
it's
how it
cool.
shows like these like shadow echo type things. And like at first, me as the reader, I'm like, what the hell? And then like as you read it, you're like, oh, okay, that's how that works.
Yeah, and I mean, it could lead to some really cool like fight scenes, especially in a movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I visually, that's probably going to be really fun to see.
I say this lovingly for whoever's listening. Cough, cough. Don't dare screw up the CGI on that.
Oh
We'll be
no.
watching.
Yeah, yeah. I think Apple's going to do a good job, and Brandon's got full creativity with it. So I mean, a update this week. He said he is 60% through the screenplay, the rough draft of it. That is.
Nice. So he's
So
gonna change some things, of course, but
I think for the most part, the magic's going to work the same.
hmm
You know, there'll be things they'll have to tweak, but like ATM's going to work like ATM. Steel's going to be steel. You know.
yeah. No, that makes sense.
Yep.
It's a very cool ability. It's very unique
Mhm.
in terms of like, okay, what do all these metals do? Oh, this one is lets you sort of quasi see into the future. Like that's pretty sweet.
Yeah. And I mean, it's so rare. I wonder if you were an ATM misting, would you ever know? Right? Because like if
Ah,
like you're a smoker, you're probably gonna get your hands on some copper, right? You know, or if you're riding, bronze will be available to you pretty easily, or like a steel pusher, you'll be able to get
yeah.
some steel. ATM's so rare, and it says it's not good for you. Digestive juices can destroy. Well, digestive juices destroy ATM. So like you have to burn it so quickly, and it's so expensive. Would you want to risk checking to see if you were misting for ATM? Because like it's
Hmm.
so expensive, you're just gonna burn it. So like unless you're a misborn, like you're not even trying.
That is a good good point. Huh. I
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that, but you're absolutely right. Like these people would never know. And if it's only like mined in one spot
hmm
and like that was the Lord Ruler gives like a what did he say? He gives like an allowance of it to every like house. You only get a little bit.
Hmm. That's a
It's
stipend almost.
a stipend. It feels like it's another way of control because
Oh yeah.
if you're only getting a stipend of atium and we know what it does, so like let's look at the practicality here. Um, whoa, what the hell? Sorry, I just ran into something I've never seen before.
Eh.
Um, but let's look at the practicality. If you are like trying to use this and it only has this one limited function, you're not really gonna like I feel like the Lord Ruler is the one that's like, hey, you should seek ATM, you should use this, you should seek this out. And it's like he's the one that's like it's almost like inflation, where he's like making it more than it really is. Because if you were not fighting and if you were just like it's very good in a power grabby kind of scenario,
Yeah.
but in like the everyday use, I see steel and copper and like all these other things as more useful than atium, especially if like such low quantities.
Right. I agree with that.
Um, Leading up to the atium, I did like how Kelsier like Vim was like, okay, I'm gonna like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to bed, and then she like totally follows him,
Yeah.
tracks him down, all of this. Um, as a side note, the description of the Copper Road was really cool.
I like that. Yeah.
Um, but then how he tricked her with the coin pouch, that was so damn smooth.
Oh yeah. Yeah. He's like, I learned a new trick. Thanks.
Yeah, no, that was awesome.
Yeah. Um, it's interesting that Vin never knew about. I mean, like she's only been outside the city for so long. Um, but she's been training with Kel, and I'm surprised he hasn't taught her about this kind of copper road. And it makes me think, like, does he not trust her, like, to the fullest extent, or does he know that she's just gonna be dumb as hell and get herself in trouble by going back to Luthadel? And he's like,
Like
this
you are
is
a liability because you don't.
right. I don't want you going back there cut by yourself. So I'm not going to show you this. That's kind of how I see that, you know?
No, very very true. And like this, the whole thing, how I saw this was he routinely puts himself at risk for causing chaos, fucking around finding out,
Hmm.
but also because of his vendetta. And I think there is a part of him that doesn't want to put her at risk when she doesn't need to be at risk, but he still can't help himself.
Yeah, I don't. He definitely doesn't want to put her at risk. At
Yeah.
least not, like, up front, right? There might be like a
Yeah.
subconscious part of him that's like, fuck everybody. But I think there is a, like, caring for Vin that he doesn't want to hurt her.
Hmm.
Um, I think that what's interesting is that he's like, no, 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 like, you can't come with me to Cretic Shaw, like, or Cretic Shaw. I think it's Cretic. Um, and Vin convinces him. She's like, look, I gotta do this eventually. Like, I realize, like, signing up to overthrow the Lord Ruler, I'm probably not gonna live. Like, it's just not gonna happen, right? and
That was a fascinating dialogue, by the way.
yeah, it really puts things in perspective. Like Vin's like, I could have left. Like, I wanted to see this through. There's a good chance I'm going to die here. Might as well do some good, or like actually do something. I'm tired of sitting around. I respect that.
Yeah, no, I definitely do too. She's really she's really coming into her own, and I think in a way that like scares him because he is trying to do that whole like I'm I'm protecting you kind of thing,
Uh-huh.
and yeah, that whole scene was just really really interesting because we did see Kelsier do this whole like I'm doing this and you don't have to come with me. I don't want you to come with me. I really don't want you to come with me. And the the lore behind it was fascinating, and I guess like this segues into the next chapter where he had said like, yeah, we are initially like here's where this Lord Ruler goes. He goes there for a few hours once
Mm-hmm.
every, so long, and he doesn't do anything. He just stays there for a few hours and then he leaves. And we thought it was a treasure room, and we thought that he was going to have all this vast wealth or whatever. And we were wrong. And he's like, we got, captured, and all this stuff happened,
Uh-huh.
and I really want to know what's in there, and I know for a fact that he's not home. And like that's more and more like he's saying the quiet part out loud without really saying it, where he's like, yeah, this only happened because we were betrayed, but he won't say betrayal because he doesn't want to admit it.
Right. Which leads us to a very interesting place with chapter 14.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's let's get this epigraph out of the way, and then we can start talking about this because I feel like we've
Sure.
been beating around the bush from chapter 14 all night. Um, Sometimes I wonder if I'm going mad. Perhaps it's due to the pressure of knowing that I must somehow bear the burden of an entire world. Perhaps it's caused by the death I've seen, the friends I've lost, the friends I've been forced to kill. Either way, I sometimes see shadows following me, dark creatures that I don't understand, nor wish to understand. Are they perhaps some figment of my overtaxed mind? What do you think of that?
Well, I had wrote like this is just fascinating, and like this guy is highly self-aware, and like there's no doubt that he's been through it. Like
Mm-hmm.
something has happened that like has pushed this person to his limits,
Mm-hmm.
and we're starting to see some maybe potential motivation. Like, did he lose people, and this is what caused him to snap? Like, was this his version of Kelsier's bad day?
Right. Is
We don't know.
are are they insane? Are we dealing with a sane person?
Yeah.
You know, I, and maybe not anymore, but were they? At what point did they lose it? How we're seeing the decline of somebody who maybe had good intentions at one point.
Yeah, because I'm definitely seeing the okay, you're not all there anymore. Like you, and this is what is kind of like made me think that it was echoing Kelsier's journey of like here's all of this bad stuff happening, all of this issue, like all these issues, and like then here's somebody who is going to come along and be like, yeah, I'm going to try and fix it. And that's exactly what Kel's doing. Like, granted, and this is the slippery slope. His reasons right now are noble. Like trying to overthrow this, trying to stop this. He got, his wife died, all of this other stuff. Sure, noble reasons. But like going back to that, how many times can like we see this before somebody just snaps. And I think we see that a little bit in this chapter where Kelsier, he's just murking people left and right.
Yeah.
And like Vin comments this is the first time that like she killed someone.
Yep.
Like she's always been like in the shadows. And she's actually getting her hands dirty. And like I wrote someone definitely betrayed Kelsier and he is very clearly trying like this suicide mission thing that he does. Part of it, the way that I see it, is he's trying to do the revolution thing. He's trying to do all of these things to make this stuff happen. But by him being on this suicide mission, more and more he's showing that he really doesn't think he deserves to live.
I think it's absolute fair assessment. And like, like I'm trying to do these things, but really it's his goal to get to his wife.
Yeah. And like more and more it's okay, here's this noble goal, here's something that like he's proud of doing. But going to this guy's room now, like sure he gave Vin the whole answer of, well, we planned this for months, everybody knew we were doing it, and this is why it failed. No one knows I'm doing this.
Right.
And like that is such a half-ass, half-baked plan. Of like, oh yeah, they don't know I'm gonna be there. It's like, really, bud? If you rub the brain cells together for a couple seconds, you might think, well, I did this once before. He has eyes and ears everywhere. Maybe I should like plan this out a little bit, but like keep it to myself, not just one night go, fuck it.
It's time to find out.
Yeah, it's time to find. And he does, and they do.
And they do. And you have to stop and think like, okay, were they betrayed, or is the Lord Ruler more than what they think? Or is the Steel Ministry just that observant?
There's so many angles here, and like I want to point something out before we touch on the very end. This definitely breaks molds of typical characters. And what I mean by that is like when you have a male presenting and female presenting character in books, and more often than not, if the male character is in any sort of a mentor figure, right? The first time you take a female character into a place that makes them uncomfortable, in most books, and I say most, but like people can correct me, totally fine. In a lot of books, that female character is written in such a poor way that when things get hard the first time as part of this hero's journey,
Mm-hmm.
they want to back out, they want to run, they want to go away. They want to say like, oh, I can't do it, and then somebody else has to be like, no, you can do it. Vin didn't think that she didn't outwardly do that the entire time here.
No, she doesn't.
She made comments about like, oh god, this sucks. But like, she even had a dialogue of like, well, I asked him if I could come along. I can't complain.
Right.
And I loved that dialogue because it really puts this like, okay, you're not just on a hero's journey, you're a human being. You have humanized yourself to accept the consequences and not just go, oh my god, this is hard, for somebody else to push you back up on a pedestal.
Right.
You're signifying yourself as your own independent character. And I like that about his writing because you don't often see that, or in books.
He does a really good job understanding characters and who they are, not just as words on a page, but as the people they would be.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have to absolutely agree. I love it. I can relate to his writing so well is because I feel like these are believable people with real traits and problems, and like Vin has this like life about her. Like you can absolutely understand who she is and where she comes from.
Yeah.
Um, I'm at the 5 minute mark, so let me just can't say save this one, and we'll go to
Okay.
part two.
Would you mind if yeah, no, never mind. You're all good.
Okay.
Never mind.